Next, we have Jatin. Jatin is a product designer at T-Mobile, currently designing the T-Mobile for Business web app. He's passionate about problem solving in the digital space while keeping sustainability and ethics in mind. He's previously worked as a front-end developer, accessibility researcher, AR game designer, and now a product designer. Jatin, are you ready to take it away?
Sure.
All right, it's all you.
Let's talk about climate change if you haven't heard enough about it already. With the pandemic hanging over our necks like a guillotine, we have either completely forgotten about climate change or are thinking that the changes we have made due to the pandemic or the lockdown are taking care of it. But remember Bill Gates, the guy who predicted the pandemic in his 2015 TED Talk and warned us to be prepared for it, and we ignored him? He recently published an article about how the intense changes we have made during the pandemic are only helping us reduce the global emissions by 8%. And if we don't take care of climate change now, every year from 2060 onwards would be like 2020. This is when the full impact of climate change dawned over me. And I started thinking and realized that climate change is more or less like Thanos. And the changes we have made due to the pandemic are the Hulk. If you don't get the reference, Thanos is the mighty guy from the Avengers series who has all the power of the universe. And it takes a bunch of superheroes to defeat him. That is to say, we need to make a lot of Hulk-sized changes in order to have any fighting chance against climate change. So here are the industries that are making the biggest impact on climate change. But wait, what? Looking at this makes me believe that we are better off focusing on these juicy targets rather than individual level digital design work. But remember Thanos and climate change? These juicy targets are like the Avengers, and we need a complete force behind them to have any fighting chance against this mighty enemy that we have of Thanos caliber. You might say that digital designers are helping put things online like books, music, etc., by making them intangible and helping reduce physical waste. However, it is very, very easy to overlook the impact that digital products are making on the environment. The internet consumes a gargantuan amount of electricity because it is powered by servers in data centers, and it consumes over 3% of the global electricity, and it is only growing. More stuff on digital means that people have a growing appetite to buy more and more devices to keep up with it. Digital design work, due to the equipment and processes involved, has a surprisingly large carbon footprint. We travel or video call for collaboration, we use equipment generously, and are always looking to upgrade our electronic devices at the slightest chance. Fortunately, it can all be easily reduced. We are designing products that consume more battery than ever, either due to the brightness of colors or performance issues. More battery consumption means the device would end up using a lot more battery, in turn using a lot more energy. We are using heavier assets than ever, like using high-res images, high-res videos, JavaScript libraries, web fonts, etc. And due to that, the size of an average web page has increased to 4 MBs in size as compared to 500 kilobytes in 2011. And more data transferred means more energy that needs to be transmitted. While we might not be able to stop using the web, we can change how we build and power it to make it planet-friendly as well as user-friendly. I really like this quote by Planet Friendly Web Guide because it it gives us some action items, because let's face it, the internet usage isn't decreasing anytime soon. So here is what digital designers can do. Look for green opportunities in product design, like Uber Eats asking people to use their own cutlery rather than the restaurant sending them one, and giving the users an option to go for a sustainable option. Companies giving users the no hurry option, or in other words, the delivery option in which they can fulfill orders in the same area in one go. Sites that offer comparison-based shopping can encourage users to compare products based on efficiency ratings and not just color and price. Focus on the performance of the app. The better the performance, the less is the memory usage and the less is the battery consumption. In a study by Google, they were able to show a 78% reduction in battery consumption just by the use of dark colors. That's a substantial reduction. Optimize the code to send or receive data efficiently. A Dutch programmer named Van Kooten was able to optimize his WordPress plugin to send 20 KB less data with every request. Since 2 million websites were using his plugin, he calculated a 59,000 kilograms reduction in carbon dioxide emission. Make a conscious decision about the people or companies or projects that you are working with. Are they as concerned about the future as you are, or are they favoring profits through short-term returns? To summarize, digital designers are contributing through the equipment and processes that they use. We are designing with brighter colors and heavier assets than ever before. What we can do is look for green opportunities in product design, focus on the performance, and make a conscious decision about who we are working with. This is a high time that we think of climate change just like Jeff Bezos thinks about his customers. Every single one matters. We need to think of not just accessibility, but is our design adherent to climate change standards as well? Remember, there is no planet B. And if you are interested more in this topic of climate change and design, I found this annual conference called Sustainable UX Conference, and they have some great content. I've put all the resources in this. I think Yusuf will share it. So again, thank you for listening. All right.
Thank you, Jatin. I know we just about hit 8 o'clock and we still have one last presenter left, so we've gone over. I'm going to take the blame on that for not setting a timer during the breakout rooms. So hopefully you all can stick around. We understand if people have to drop right at 8. For those who are leaving, thank you so much for joining us. We hope to be in touch with you again soon. And now back to Jatin. If anyone has questions for him around design, UX, sustainability, please drop them in the chat. While we're waiting for people to put questions in, we actually had a question from someone on our organizing team. They were curious how Earth-centered design could conflict with best practices around accessibility standards and stuff like that. And if so, like what examples of that have you seen and how did they pan out?
Sure. So I think one example that immediately comes to mind is I recommend that we should be using less data and less overall elements, heavier elements. And some of those we are using because of the accessibility standards or some related to that, right? So both of these, they conflict sometimes, but there has to be some sort of a balance where you are, you need to find local, you can say local maxima, minima, where each of them are balanced in some way, right? I can also think about where they go along in the same way as well. Let me think. Yeah, and we are talking about not using. Never mind, I lost the train of thought.
All right. Well, I'm not seeing too many questions coming up now, so we might go ahead and switch over to our last. But thank you again, Jatin. That was great.
Thank you so much.
Very inspiring. And you got a lot of kudos in the chat if you see it. So